Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're looking for a shortcut to getting really well informed on social criticism in modern music, you are definitely in the right place.
I think so.
Today, we are taking a granular line-by-line journey into Utku's really compelling song, Hungry Dogs.
And it's a fantastic choice for a deep dive.
Yeah.
The material we're looking at, it treats this track as so much more than just a simple protest anthem.
Right.
It's basically a complete social manifesto. The lyrics are just incredibly rich, with symbols that map out this whole relationship between power, deception, and, well, public desperation.
That's exactly our mission today. We're not just here to appreciate the music, but to peel back all those layers and really understand how Utku uses his poetry to deliver this searing critique.
A critique of structural injustice, of
Yeah.
economic inequality.
And the promise of eventual collective power. So we've organized our analysis verse by verse just to really appreciate the escalating commentary.
And that approach is so key because Utku starts by establishing a kind of foundational betrayal. It sets the stage for everything that comes after.
Okay, let's jump right into verse 1 then. The analysis calls it the Great Deception. And Utku doesn't ease us in at all, does he? He just slams you with this immediate jarring contrast.
Yeah.
Where does he start?
He starts with a stunning line that just perfectly encapsulates political trickery. It's, "They promised us the moon, but stole the bread we chew."
Wow.
I mean, that is the core mechanism of the whole deception right there. The moon, that's the grand, lofty promise.
The big, shiny future.
Exactly. Future prosperity, huge changes, a glittering horizon. It's a high-flown distraction.
It's a huge promise that, it feels like it requires infinite waiting.
Precisely. And while everyone is waiting, while they're looking up at the moon, the theft is happening right under their noses.
And the source material really emphasizes that word, bread.
It does. Bread is chosen for its universal necessity. It symbolizes the most fundamental, daily, physical things you need just to exist.
So this isn't just about a broken political promise. It's a betrayal that actively undermines your ability to survive today. It's weaponizing distraction.
That's it. It's so powerful because bread is primal. It's daily sustenance. The theft isn't about luxury or some far-off opportunity.
No.
It's about taking the very thing that lets you live another day. So it immediately frames the whole situation as one of profound social injustice. You have to confront the gap between what you're told and what's being taken.
And Utku connects that primal theft directly to the economic chasm that follows, right? He paints this sharp picture of the winners and, well, the vast majority of losers.
Yes, the cause and effect is crystal clear, he says. Their pockets heavy grow, while hunger knocks our door.
So the accumulation of wealth by the elite, the heavy pockets.
It's presented as the direct cause of the public suffering. There's no ambiguity.
And that personification of hunger knocking at the door is so effective. It turns this abstract idea into an immediate physical threat.
It really is. It shows you that the rising tide of wealth for one group is literally sinking the other. It just completely refutes the idea that this is all accidental.
Or that these are separate fates.
Right. Utku is arguing it's a zero-sum game. The heaviness of their pockets is directly proportional to the literal hunger faced by ordinary people. It just establishes economic inequality as the central intentional theme from the get-go.
So verse 1 established the injury, this economic theft. Then verse 2 has to show us the apparatus, the institutional control that lets it keep happening.
Exactly.
Okay, let's connect those dots. How does Utku show that this system isn't just failing by accident, but that it's intentionally enforced?
Well, verse 2 focuses entirely on how language and the very mechanisms of government are corrupted. The line is a classic. With velvet tongues they lie, their law is just chains disguised.
I love that phrase, velvet tongues.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
It suggests the lies aren't crude or obvious. They're smooth, they're eloquent, maybe even seductive. They're designed to feel comforting while they mislead you.
That's the power dynamic in a nutshell. The criticism is aimed squarely at leaders who've mastered that art of beautiful rhetoric to mask their intent. But even more critically, Utku shows how the structural tools of society, they're deployed against the public.
The laws.
The laws themselves. They're supposed to be the guarantor of your liberty, but here they're chains disguised.
So the very foundation of legal structure, which should protect people, is actually being used as an instrument of confinement. The structure itself is the trap.
Exactly. It's a powerful charge that institutional mechanisms, even democratic ones, can be subverted into tools of suppression. It makes the whole deceit systemic, not just individualized.
And if that's the political structure, Utku then drives home the extreme disparity of consequence with this consumption imagery.
Yes.
This is where the class difference becomes so painfully visible. We move from just hunger to profound, almost scandalous waste.
It's the escalation you need to feel the injustice. He contrasts the two realities. They feast on golden plates. We beg for crumbs they waste.
Those golden plates, they don't just signify wealth.
No, not at all.
They signify excess, a complete removal from necessity. The feast is luxurious and utterly isolated from what most people experience.
And that contrast is so crucial. The public isn't asking for a seat at the table. They're reduced to begging for the waste, the crumbs, from a meal the elite didn't even need.
Wow.
The system is designed to create such an abundance for one class that the scraps of their waste are the only source of survival for the other.
That just hammers home the injustice. It suggests that even the tiny resources people get are just accidental byproducts of the upper class discarding things. It elevates the whole commentary from economic disparity to moral bankruptcy.
It forces you, the listener, to grapple with the immorality of a system built on that kind of waste. It's a really effective way to shift your mood from just recognizing disparity to feeling real indignation.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because that indignation leads us right to the core symbol of the song, the chorus.
The title itself.
Exactly, the central metaphor. When you first looked at the analysis of Hungry Dogs, did that dual meaning surprise you?
It absolutely did, because on the surface, you think, okay, the hungry dogs must be the desperate populace.
That's the obvious reading.
But the source analysis reveals a far more chilling interpretation. Utku sings, "Oh, hungry dogs run wild, their teeth sunk deep inside." The hungry dogs, they symbolize both the systemic cruelty of the exploiting system and the desperate state of the people facing that injustice.
So that dual nature is what elevates it. It's not just a protest song. It's a manifesto showing the circularity of the cruelty.
Yes. The system acts like a ruthless predatory animal, the hungry dog, and in turn, it creates a populace that is reduced to that same state of desperation.
It portrays the entire environment as predatory.
Completely. The dogs, the power structure, they're not just taking, they're running wild, acting without constraint, embedding themselves into society with their teeth sunk deep inside. The metaphor suggests the exploitation is pervasive, it's animalistic, and it's totally unrestrained.
And Utku follows that image with a line about the consequence of that system, which is, it's physically and psychologically devastating. The graphic line, they chew us bone by bone, then leave us cold, alone.
This is maybe the most impactful lyric in the whole song. It goes way beyond simple economics.
I agree.
Being chewed bone by bone suggests an exploitation that is total. It's exhaustive, relentless. They're taking everything right down to the foundation. It's a metaphor for a destruction that leaves nothing behind.
It acknowledges that the harm goes far beyond your bank account. If a manifesto's goal is to convey the human cost, that phrase delivers it completely. What does the analysis say about that shift, from the physical harm to being left cold, alone?
The sources really emphasize that the true trauma is the aftermath. Being left cold alone highlights the isolation, the psychological burden, the anger. It's all there.
The system is designed to divide people.
Exactly. It's designed to isolate the victims, to stop them from realizing their collective strength. It's a very heavy emotional weight placed on you, the listener, and it's meant to slow the pace and force you to really think about that trauma.
And that powerful feeling of isolation, of being chewed up and discarded, is the springboard into verse 3. This is where Utku focuses on the recurring pattern of deceit and how this toxic cycle just keeps widening the social chasm.
We enter what the analysis calls the vicious cycle, where the promise of hope is constantly undermined by immediate robbery. Utku says, "They howl of better days, yet rob us in our face."
That word howl is fascinating, isn't it? It connects right back to the dogs.
It does.
It suggests the leader's rhetoric is loud, maybe empty, maybe even desperate. They're making a lot of noise about the future to drown out the sound of the theft happening right now.
That's the nature of the distraction. The rewards are always deferred, always better days tomorrow, while the cost is immediate and devastating today, and the robbery is transparent. It's in our face.
The public knows.
The public knows it's being robbed, but the promise is meant to paralyze them.
And if that tension defines the relationship between the governing and the governed, the last lines of this verse define the ultimate relationship between the classes. This is where Utku delivers his most damning indictment.
It reveals exactly who the system is built to serve. The line is, "Their tails wag for the rich, the poor dig their own ditch."
Wagging tails. I mean, that shows unquestioning loyalty, subservience, an undeniable animalistic devotion to the rich. But let's focus on the second half of that.
Of course.
Because the poor digging their own ditch is one of the most tragic bits of social commentary I've ever heard.
It is the ultimate tragedy. It suggests the exploited class isn't just passively receiving damage. They are, in some metaphorical way, forced into self-destructive situations.
How so?
The system is so rigged that the very act of trying to survive, or the choices they're forced to make because of economic pressure, are what ultimately lead to their ruin. They're digging their own graves, maybe by participating in the very system that exploits them just to get by.
It removes any doubt about the system's neutrality. Utku is showing that the structure actively works against the poor while showing complete loyalty to the rich. It's a cycle of self-sabotage that's mandated by survival.
And this is the point where the manifesto could just end in complete despair.
It could.
But that's not Utku's goal. The song has laid out the economic theft, the institutional constraints, the psychological damage. Now it has to offer the path forward, and that happens in the outro.
So what does this all mean for the future? If the manifesto is going to inspire, it has to move from isolation to collective power. Utku shifts from description to defiance.
This is the moment where the power structure's narrative finally begins to crack. Utku gives us that message of hope, of defiance against all the injustice he just outlined. The concluding words are a powerful warning. But every dog must learn. The pack will have its turn.
The pack. That is the direct antidote to being left cold alone in the chorus.
Absolutely. It's the answer to being chewed bone by bone.
It's the promise of community.
It's the promise of unified resistance. The pack represents the collective strength of society, mobilized people. After being divided and isolated by exploitation, this line promises that unity is possible.
And inevitable.
It suggests the inevitability of collective action or, maybe even a revolution. It's the ultimate statement that the cruelty of the individual dogs, the ruling system, cannot withstand the mobilized force of the many.
This final note of defiance just encapsulates the entire thesis. A society that refuses to back down will ultimately reclaim its power through solidarity. He doesn't predict when, but he states the conditions for its inevitability.
So if you synthesize the whole thing, Hungry Dogs becomes this powerful, multi-layered critique. It meticulously maps out the economic deceit, critiques the political constraints, reveals the psychological cost, and then finally it provides that necessary rallying cry.
It really demands that you actively consider the power structures at play at every single turn.
And that's the true power of this deep dive. We've moved past just listening to a piece of music to understanding a profound social critique that's woven into every single word.
Yeah.
It truly rewards you for engaging with the depth of the analysis.
That's the sign of successful social commentary, isn't it? That every single layer offers critical meaning. The song is a mirror held up to the mechanisms of deceit.
A very clear mirror.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to carry forward. Based on that central jarring contrast Utku gave us right at the top of the song. When you encounter that kind of high-flown rhetoric from any authority, ask yourself this: does the promise of the moon always serve to distract from the theft of the bread? And if so, how do we shift our focus back to what is fundamentally essential?
A critical question for everyone navigating the modern world.
Thank you for engaging with us on this deep dive into Utku's social manifesto. We'll catch you on the next one.